This morning is Sarah Langton. She is a support for Flex Online School and works with our teachers on professional development and all kinds of things. And then we also have Shawnee Clark, who is our elementary counselor here this morning. This morning's session is designed to get questions answered for you. We realize your questions might be about a number of different things. We have about 36 folks in the room at this moment. Our protocol this morning, we'll be using the chat. The reason, of course, we're doing that is just too many people to unmute and do that way. If after today your questions aren't answered or you have further questions, we'll provide you information on how to get those answers moving forward. So again, we just have a few more folks arriving. Good morning. My name is Paul Autumn. I am the principal of Flex Online School. Joining me today is Sarah Langton. She works with our teachers at Flex Online School, and then Shawnee Clark, who is our elementary Flex Online counselor. All right, I'm going to give you a very brief introduction about Flex Online School, and then what we'd like you to do is go ahead and use the chat. We know we're going to have so many questions. We want to be sure to get through as many as we can. So you can use the chat to type your questions in, and then we will respond to them live that way. So one of the first things that folks are probably going to ask about is, how does attendance work at Flex Online School? Attendance at Flex Online School is based on Canvas. So logging into Canvas for elementary students, that means they'll log into their homeroom. Canvas will automatically update us instantaneously, so we know exactly when students log in, how long they've logged in for, what pages they've accessed, etc. Of course, we also have our live morning meetings, and we have live sessions throughout the day, whether it's through our Spanish or our art specials, or other services that your student might be receiving, like our special education or our language learning teachers. And so those will play a part as well, but it's really key that every morning on a school day that you log in and access Canvas. In the elementary classroom, there's a homeroom, and that is sufficient. Then there also are all the subjects broken out individually, but we will use the homeroom access, the first thing that your students will see when they log in, as their attendance for the day. Moving forward, if we have students that we see are logging in, but of course they're not making progress, then we'll move forward with that to try to help and do any assisting we can to help you make progress. We are going to have printed books that go along with our curriculum. We were unable to order them early because our enrollment numbers have changed so drastically so quickly, and we want to place that order with the printer at a point at which we feel at least we've stabilized our enrollment a little bit. Our plan is to put that order in by the end of the week or early next week, and then we should be seeing those books arrive in a couple of weeks after that. And then we'll arrange a pickup at our Tumwater location so families can come pick up those books. In the meantime, your teachers will have plenty of things to do. Of course, the curriculum is all online, and you can do a lot of the items on just standard pieces of paper or in a notebook. You don't have to have the actual printed material from the curriculum to be able to interact and do the things that your teachers want to do. We are in week 0. That's what we're calling this first week. And what that means, it's our chance to introduce you to Flex Online School, make sure you can log in, make sure you can access Canvas, you know how to communicate with your teachers, make sure your Zoom is working. So we want to just have those basics this first week. Our kinder and first grade teachers will be doing individualized assessments, as we do in all of our schools. So they know where your students is coming from as far as what levels of skills they have and what they need to focus on. And they'll be communicating about that all this week about what they're doing. We do have a location. We are physically located in the Tumwater Middle School. I'm going to go ahead and put that address in the chat for you. We will have in-person opportunities like we did last year, of course, following all the protocols that are required by the Oregon Health Authority and by the Beaverton School District. Last year's in-person opportunities were fabulous. We did PE things, we did group activities outside, we had bingo night. We're going to provide the opportunity for assessment. And so we'll be advertising and talking about those in-person opportunities as we go on. And I just put the address to where we're located in the chat. That is what I have this morning to get us started. And it looks like we're getting a lot of great questions in the chat. So if Sarah, if you want to go ahead and fire it up, that would be great.
Morning, everybody. Happy first day of school. We made it to this point. I have a first grader, so I feel you. I think the biggest thing right now, Paul, that's coming up is we still don't have our schedule. When are we getting that? There's a number of parents who are saying, I know you've been super busy. But if we want to just talk about when they might get a schedule, some folks saying they need to design their work schedule around that, so they're waiting.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, thank you so much. So this first one we'll talk about is the schedule. Your teachers are doing two things this week. First off, we have to actually balance our classrooms. We added 16 staff members last week. And that's just to accommodate the number of students that we've grown. And so we were unable to make complete balanced class lists. And so what we're going to do is work on communicating, getting us connected. We know we can log into Canvas. We know we can access Zoom, and we're going to be building our schedules this week and balancing classrooms. Our plan is by Friday, we'll have the classes balanced. So we'll know exactly who your teacher is. And then we will also at that point be able to start sending the schedule. We'll have in general, Flex Classrooms will have live all class meetings in the morning offered and later in the day offered. So 2 live all class meetings. And then what most families do is schedule individual meetings with their instructors, or they'll put into small reading groups or math groups, depending on after the teachers have gotten to know what the levels of the students are. And then we'll also have a schedule for our specials. So when your Spanish special will be and when your live art special will be. And so we'll be publishing that soon. We really appreciate everyone's patience. We had no idea that we were going to have the enrollment increase that we did. I know it kind of seems logical with the Delta variant, et cetera. But we are working as fast as we can to get those things ready for folks. In the meantime, please visit your students' homepage in Canvas, and they will be talking about the schedule each day in there, and they'll post information about that. You can communicate directly with your teachers in Canvas, and they will be your first go-to. As soon as we have those things dialed down, we'll send them through Parent Square, and we'll also publish those on the website. Okay.
Next question.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Is live class attendance required? Will they be recorded for later access?
Great question. Very, very common question. No, we were not designed in response to a pandemic. So it's a little bit strange, right? Because we're in a pandemic, but we've been working on this online school since 2013. Our plan was to open this year actually as an online school. And the #1 reason people choose online school is schedule flexibility. And so we do not require attendance at live sessions ever. We highly, highly encourage it. We want students to be able to interact with their peers and interact with their teacher and go through the lessons and have an opportunity to talk. Our counselor also has lessons that she provides in our Counseling All Students course, which we strongly encourage that you take advantage of. But no, they are not mandatory for attendance. Again, attendance is based on access to Canvas and interaction with the curriculum. But we highly, highly encourage that you take us up on those live sessions as often as you can. Did I answer that, Sarah? Yep. Okay.
Well, to be honest, I'm paying 50% attention because I'm scrolling through the questions also. So okay. If you feel good about it, I feel good about it. Okay. Johnny, do you?
Okay, go ahead. What's the next one we've got?
Various logins. Will Canvas have a single login, first and second graders? So want to get them all in. I don't know whether or not we answered that.
Okay, yeah, this is great. This is also a very common question. I was just talking to our tech person this morning about it. Apparently there was some sort of an update last night. And so some folks who did not have their passwords were having trouble getting logged in. She assured me that today, that update that happened is actually should be finished. And so if you have your password, that's the same username and password you'll use for all Beaverton School District systems. So whether it is Student View or Canvas or any of the other systems that we log into, that one login, a Chromebook, that one login should get you in. Sarah just posted in the chat. If you do have tech questions or support needs, please email flex-support@beaverton.k12.or.us. And what that does is sends it directly to our tech person. Even though the school district has posted online that they still have a student help desk phone number, there are no people at that phone number. So we apologize for any confusion there. The person that supports our school, she uses that email address, the flex-support, to provide support for you. She would love to take phone calls today. This week, the volume of phone calls is so high, she just simply can't possibly catch up. But with email, she's able to have the documented and respond as quickly as possible to those. So she is the one who can provide passwords if you don't have it. She is the one that can support you with password changes. And you can make those changes. So somebody asked, can we change the password? Yes, you may. And she can help you with those things. As soon as we can, we'll post generalized instructions that apply for all students. But in the meantime, it's going to be that flex-support@beaverton.k12.or.us to get support on login.
I would also just echo the Canvas password, the password to get into the Chromebook, like all of those are the same. And if you choose to update most of these families, I think are K12. And as a parent of a first grader, I know I can go into Parent View and see what my kid's password is if she forgets it, like over the summer. But if she ever changes it or we decide to change it, that doesn't update in Parent View. So write it down somewhere, because you wouldn't be able to use the video that I put in the chat to find it again. So one password to rule them all is kind of how our district works.
Yep, thanks so much. Really quick, I noticed a question about Canvas requiring a BSD student ID. Yes, if you log in as the student, that's going to be the same way that students log into anything, which is their Beaverton School District ID and their student password. If you log in as an observer, which means that you are a parent or guardian or learning coach that has educational rights, you would use your own login, and your screen will be slightly different than what your student sees. So there's two different things. If you want to log in and have the student actually work in Canvas and submit assignments, et cetera, communicate with their teacher, they need to log in, or you can help them log in with their student information. If you want to log in as an observer, which also enables you to send questions directly to teachers, then you would log in with your Parent View information. Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
Let's go ahead, Shawnee.
I was going to help Sarah out here. So we've got some questions about schedules, and that's a really common Flex question. Paul, did you want to take that, or do you want me to?
Go ahead, Shawnee.
Yeah, so we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but with our model, our selling point is flexibility. So you can kind of make your schedule whatever works best for your student and your family. That being said, we do have the live meetings that are kind of nice to plan around. So your student can interact with peers and make some friends in their class and potentially get some help from the teacher. That being said, I will say that schedules are important. Now, we're not going to say what your schedule needs to look like, but we've found that the students that are most successful in this model do have a consistent schedule, whatever that may be. And we're more than happy to I've had so many conversations with parents and students about coming up with a schedule that works, and it might take a few different tries. So we are here to help with that for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawnee.
And I answered in the chat about parents getting into Canvas. It's the same email and password as you used for Parent View. So as soon as you have Parent View, and if you're new to Parent View, it does take about 24 hours before you can get your Canvas, enter into Canvas. And I've gotten some direct messages to same password for Zoom as well. And there's a video that I posted also in this chat, if you want to scroll back, about how to get into Zoom. Kids need to use the SSO option, and that video is great. I'm just trying to scroll, make sure that we didn't miss anything. Signed up Sunday night. Still not any communication or confirmation on the device. When can we expect it?
Okay, great question. For any families who signed up after, I don't recall basically over the weekend, we were closed for the 4-day weekend, for the weekend and then for the holiday. It's going to be about 3 business days, 3 school days before we're able to get everything processed. It's not just a matter of we receive the application and then everything processes. So we receive the application, we have to process the enrollment change from the other building to our building. Once that happens, then systems take 24 hours to update. Then we can place students in classes. We can then communicate with folks once they're in our system through Parent Square or email. And then we have a device pickup scheduled, another one this week for Thursday. And you'll get the information for that as soon as you're enrolled. They'll automatically send you the information on the device pickup. But it is there are several steps, some of which we have no control over, and that take 24 hours for the systems to update. So you are guaranteed a spot. So please don't be concerned about we're going to run out of room or we won't accept you. That's not the case. And we're just going to go as fast as we can and process them. We uploaded this morning, and we had another about 180 applications to process. And again, each one takes several steps. So we're just going as quickly as we can every day. All right, Sarah, what do we have next?
Greenbox and Epic are still a yes. For those of you who are asking about that, attendance, we've kind of covered, I think. Notifications in Canvas for parents.
Yeah, this is a great one. This is a great question. There are a lot of good parent resources or learning coach resources on the web, on the public website about Canvas and how to set up your notifications. There's a video that our district Canvas person produced. Canvas notifications are set to a default, meaning they're going to automatically either email you or send you information on a weekly, immediate, monthly, daily basis. You have the power to set those exactly how you want them. And you can say, I only want to be notified when there's a grading notification, or I want to be notified when the teacher makes an announcement, or I only want to be notified once a week. What will tend to happen, especially if you have more than one student in the school district, you will be bombarded with notifications. And so I strongly encourage that you visit the district information about Canvas, which walks you through in a video how to set your notifications. That is personal to you. We don't have any control over that. That's your individual control. So you'll basically click on the icon in the top left corner of Canvas that shows that you're logged in, and you'll be able to go into notifications and adjust those notifications. So it sends you when and what you want. So you have the power to adjust that.
We've got about 10 more minutes, but I think we need to, can any student move to his or her neighborhood school whenever he or she wants? Feels like a good thing to cover.
Yeah, fantastic question. Very, very common question. Yes, so you always have the right to return to your in-person school. We will never stop you. There's no requirement that you stay here for a certain amount of time. However, it's really important to understand that if it doesn't happen very quickly, let's say it's in November, the disruption for the student, there is some disruption for the student. And the disruption is that our curriculum and our systems are not exactly aligned with what happens in district classrooms. And so you might be ahead or behind in certain spots, and the routines that happen each day are different. And so the reason why the website talks about making moves at the semester is not because you're required to do that. It's because that's really in the best interest of the student and the family. And I'll just reiterate again, at any point, you are always allowed to return to your home school. So we will never prevent you. That's not our intent. We want your student to be successful. If the flex format is not a good format for you or your student, we don't want you to suffer. We want your student to be successful. And so you are always allowed the right to return to your home school. Any other major ones, Sarah? Oh, I can do it really quickly. Cover attendance again. Oh, somebody, she just posted it.
Well, you
Basically,
can flush it out.
Yeah, basically for attendance, you want to log your student into Canvas into the homeroom and do so, that's obviously where they'll get the latest information from the teacher about the sessions and what work is going to be due. And that automatically triggers for us in the system, oh, your student logged in this day, this time, and then we can see what kind of activity they had. And so Canvas is your place for attendance. So be sure that your student, not the learning coach or observer, but the student logs into Canvas every day, every school day.
Good. We have a good question. My kids are able to log into Canvas with student accounts. Do parents also need to log into Canvas using their account on a daily basis? So no, we're not taking attendance on the parent side, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yes.
And
That's
parent
a great
accounts are
question.
just observer accounts. So it actually, for littles, like might just be easier for you to be watching over the shoulder, in my opinion, of your student who's in Canvas. Because if you accidentally logged into your account, there might be some confusion if your child starts work and then, wait, I can't see the assignment or turn the assignment in, right? Because parents don't have the ability to do the assignments from their account.
Yep, that's a great point. Yeah, be sure your student is logged in as your student. Parents or learning coaches, observers will see all of the same information in Canvas, but they cannot interact with the course. So they can't be in a discussion. They can't post an assignment. They can't take a quiz. They can't, that's only student accounts can actually do the work. As far as assignments, we're seeing a lot of questions about assignments. It's twofold. So we will be providing you, the teachers will provide you a pacing guide, which would basically mean that by the end of the year, your student will have completed all the curriculum that's available. But one of the reasons why families like Flex is that you have power to speed that up or slow that down. We have had students that have worked at all different paces, and we are able to differentiate for individual students. If they are, surpassing the rigor in that course, we can actually work with that. And in fact, in some cases, we can even move you up to the next level if that's necessary. So we will provide information about the pacing guide that will be coming again next week. But once you're logged in, you can sort of work at your own pace because the teachers really will individually support you as you go. So.
Preferences for, well, one thing before this, because I want to make sure we cover it. This week 0, so I think there's some parent concern that there aren't assignments listed. My child isn't doing anything at school, especially for kindergarten and first grade. It might feel like that because teachers are hoping to meet your child and do some assessments before they begin with instruction or doing any assigning or walking kids through the Florida Virtual or the Canvas. So our hope is that we help everybody understand what the tools are and we start to get to know your child before we dive into the please do these assignments. And teachers will provide pacing guides. Teachers will provide some advice about schedules. And if you are curious about sample schedules, Shawnee would be somebody who could help you with that. So send her an email. The question I was going to share after that. So first grade and kindergarten are doing assessments first. And second graders have a meeting this morning or later, several choices of meetings based on your homeschool today, and they will give more information about what the rest of the week might look like. So similar to if you walked into a brick and mortar school, the first thing the teachers are going to do is try to get to know you and talk about some routines and expectations rather than just start assigning. So Paul, can we get a preference for class assignment or teacher assignment is what I'm guessing that's about.
Yeah, so our class balancing is taking place this week. What we try to do is balance classes based on geography. So we're unique that way because if you dropped pins for our students on the Beaverton School District map, we literally cover the entire geographic area of the Beaverton School District, because we certainly want the ability of students to potentially see each other on a playground, or maybe are in a learning pod, or maybe their siblings to be together. We do it by geography first. And then as new students come in, we do it by class size. I want to say two things. Of course, we will do everything we can to honor course requests or placement requests. And the second part of that is I cannot take placement requests because we would be constantly moving students all day long. If you have a placement request, we have a running list, and we're working through those. You can go ahead and send that to our Flex Online School email address. But generally speaking, we are going to go by geography. So we do zip codes and we do homeschool boundaries. And that way, the chances are most likely that those students or families know each other and have the opportunity to interact outside of school. And so that's how placement is done. After Friday, our classes should be pretty much balanced across the system. And then any incoming students will have to be based on the numbers of students in those classes. I've had a couple of questions really quick at the end here about how do you ask questions of your teachers via Canvas. When you're logged into Canvas, if you click on the inbox, it's on the left-hand global navigation on that far left side. That is your personal Canvas email, and you are allowed to email anybody that pops up. You can just craft a new message, and you'll see your teacher. You'll have the option to type your teacher's name, and you can send a message directly to your teacher through that Canvas inbox. And we strongly encourage that you use that. Of course, teachers have email addresses. The issue there is it's much harder for them to know exactly who sent it, because maybe they don't know your email address or whose student it was or what classroom, whereas in Canvas, we have that information. It's a lot easier for them to track who is sending the message. Let's see. So a couple other questions. Will parents get access codes for Dreambox and Epic? Yes, we have the same district resources as other schools in the district. So we, of course, use Dreambox, et cetera, and we will be providing all the same information about how to get in. And if that vendor, we can't control what those vendors offer. And so like Dreambox is a company we purchased from, or Epic. If they provide a learning coach or parent login, then we'll give the instructions on how to do that. Not all vendors do, but the ones that do, we always provide that information for families. All right, anything else? Oh, another question I don't think I answered is if you miss the live lessons that the instructors, your teacher has a circle time or a live lesson and you're not there, yes, they do record them. We obviously have to honor privacy. And so sometimes when all the students are on the screen, they may make adjustments like put things over the tops of the faces. But we try to have all of those lessons and daily things recorded so that families whose schedule doesn't work for those live lessons can still access what happened in those live lessons. Okay, Sarah or Shawnee, anything else for me? Are we on to a different grade level now? Okay.
I think so. So we'll need to.
Let me just start with the.
We have people waiting in the waiting room, so we'll.
Okay.
Do you want to say one last time where we want them to send if their questions did not get answered?
Yes. Let me put it in the chat here. I'm going to put tech support and general questions.
Sorry for my typing.
No, that's totally fine. Sorry, I'm now typing in the word. Somebody play the Jeopardy music.
And
okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat the most important contact information items that you need to know. The first one is that if you have tech support issues, meaning I can't log in, I need password support, I need device support, that would be the flex-support at beaverton.k12. If you have general questions about enrollment or class balancing or those things, that would be Flex Online School at beaverton.k12. If you want to reach out to your teachers individually, you would use the Canvas inbox. And so your students can contact your teachers individually, and so can you if you have a Canvas account. That Canvas account is automatically activated when your ParentVUE account becomes active. The system automatically then provides you a Canvas account. And of course, our general website is there. And then the address where we are this entire school year is at Tumwater Middle School. And I put the address right there for you.
And just in case you're panicking because he said use Canvas and you don't have access to Canvas yet, you can also just email directly to the teacher for right now. Eventually,
Yep.
we would like you to use the Canvas inbox,
Yep.
but don't panic. Also know that the teachers today are working on meeting with students and that kind of thing. So, feel free to email us. We have those Zoom links. If for some reason you registered late and did not get that information in an email from the teacher, you can reach out to us as well. Thanks for coming.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to let in the next group.
Okay. Welcome and good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and let folks in here for just a second, and then we'll get started. Oh, I love to see some kids on the screen. That's exciting. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. All right, Sarah, how are we doing about folks getting entered? Are we getting pretty close?
There's nobody in the waiting room right now, so.
Okay, excellent. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is Paul Autumn. I am the principal of Flex Online School. Joining me this morning is Sarah Langton. She is one of our support folks for all the teachers in the building, and also Shawnee Clark, who is our elementary counselor. And I don't think Eddie is still here. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Eddie's no longer here. This morning, we're going to cover just a few really quick basics. And then what we really want to do is answer your questions because we know you have a lot of them. And so we want to make sure we can get to as many as possible. These sessions are being recorded and we will be providing them the video as a link on our website. And then we'll also see what we can do about getting the chat questions. If we don't get to your question, we're going to work as quickly as we can to get those answered, and we'll post those on the website. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about today is attendance. How does attendance at Flex Online School work for elementary? For elementary school students, you want your student to log into Canvas every single day and access their homeroom. On the homeroom, when they log in, they'll see instructions about what's going to happen today, when are the live lessons. There may be a video that the teacher introduces the lessons or the things that they should be working on that day. And that's where students then would access their math or language arts or social studies or science. But we use that login each day as our record that your student has logged in and accessed the curriculum. Kind of like that login is kind of like we walked in the classroom that day. After that, if we do have students that are attending regularly, but have concerns about maybe they're not able to submit assignments or we're not seeing progress, then we'll work with you individually. Teachers will work with you to support anything you need help with. We are in week 0, the first week at Flex Online School. We're doing that on purpose because we have so many new families joining us at a very rapid pace. We actually added 16 staff members last week alone. And so we're talking brand new teachers that have not worked with us before. And so even though we have about 30 staff members still that were here last year, so we have a really good solid base of teachers that were with us last year. We need to give those teachers a chance to get in. We also have to still balance classes. Unlike other schools, they pretty much know who's going to be there. We're still having students enrolling. And so we are balancing classes this week. And so week 0 is your opportunity to take a deep breath, see if you can get logged in, make sure your device is working, maybe have a communication with your teacher, go to several live sessions or individual sessions with your teacher, You can poke around in the curriculum and have your students start looking through the curriculum. It's not going to be where we're going to start assigning work right off the bat. We want to make sure we give us this first week so we know that everything is working for you. You have a learning space set up at home. Again, your login is working because we have a lot of situations like that we're working through right now. The Flex Online School was not built because of COVID, so we're not actually a response to the pandemic. We've been working on the school since 2013. Our plan to open the school full was actually for this year. Last year we opened because of the pandemic. We just moved it back a year. The number one reason why families choose online school is schedule flexibility, and that's what we provide. And so even though we have live sessions, and we'll have live sessions both from your teachers and from our specialists, those are not mandatory. And those are not required for attendance. You do not have to go to every live session to be active and engaged in Flex Online School. Our attendance is going to be based on your Canvas access. We strongly encourage that you visit those, that you go to as many of those live sessions as you can. But we also understand for some families, it's just not possible. That's not a schedule that works for them at home. And so you have the availability to alter your schedule at home to what works best for you. We do have a location. Last year we had many in-person opportunities. We're going to do the same. We are very careful and follow all protocols. Almost all of our activities have been outside because we really prefer the outside. It's a much safer environment. And of course, masks will be required. None of those in-person activities are required of families. It's a great chance though for folks or for students to see each other and to just have fun and enjoy being together with other students. And so we will be advertising those in the coming weeks. When we start those, last year we did bingo night, we had PE, we have all kinds of different activities that we'll be having. And again, we do have classrooms inside of our Tumwater Middle School location. And so if we had specific needs, we'll also have in-person opportunities for those coming up as well. And I think that's the basics. Today, because we have so many folks coming, we're going to use the chat for questions. We're going to go as quickly as we can to get through those. And my folks that are with me this morning are kind of looking through those to see if we can get some general questions that we want to make sure to answer. And so go ahead and take it away, Sarah.
Paper workbooks.
Oh, great question. And so we do have complete paper workbooks that support our curriculum and go along with all the courses for all the different subjects. Those paper workbooks we could not order because we're getting so many students in. We did not want to place an order with the printer and then have to wait an additional time for the next level. And so what we're going to do is by Friday, when we have our classes balanced, we'll place that one big order from the printer. And then when those workbooks come in, we'll be providing you pickup times. We usually do it by alpha because there's so many students in our elementary school. You know, we've actually caused traffic jams because there's so many people here. But we'll once we get those ordered, you will be provided those. They're free of charge. They're super helpful. In the first weeks, you can do all the curriculum online. You can use paper and pencil at home. Your teachers will provide you ways to do the lessons. None of the paper is required. The reason why we provide it, we just really like the fact that students can follow along and use those paper to guide them through the curriculum. Our intent also was never to have a student on the screen all day long, right? And so we want students to take breaks off of the screen, do some handwriting, art, drawing, science experiments, etc. And so those paper books will actually help provide and guide those. And they will be coming soon. We just have to get through processing the enrollments.
Okay, I listened to that one. That was good. We joked in the last session, I was too busy in the chat. And so then I was only half listening. And then he asked, was that a good answer? I was like, I don't know. I did answer some questions in the chat, but also the teachers being assigned to kids and timing for live lessons are a couple new questions.
Okay, great. The live lesson schedule is on your Canvas course. And so when you log in Canvas on the homeroom, they'll provide the schedule for the live lessons. This first week is a little different, right? So it's week 0. There are live lessons today. It's mostly about introducing students and talking with the teachers. Because our teachers will not be completely assigned and balanced until Friday at the earliest, the actual schedule, the more set schedule, we're saying here are the times we're going to have live lessons. That'll be coming out next week and in the coming weeks. And again, it's really a matter of we've had so much increase in our enrollment that we have to wait until we can get those settled and get everybody enrolled before we post those schedules. There will be morning and afternoon sessions with your teachers. There will be specials for our live art lessons and our live Spanish lessons. And then if you're a student receiving extra services like language services or resource room services, we'll also have a schedule for those. And those instructors will work with your families to set up those times to make sure that we're meeting the IEP goals. So, all right, what's next, Sarah? Whoops, you flipped that.
Johnny.
There you go.
Shauna, you want to take one?
Sure. Will the ITBS and COGAT exams be conducted through Flex? Can you speak to that?
Yes, we were super fortunate this year to have our tag facilitator back. She was our tag facilitator last year. Her name is Jennifer Raffanon. She will be sending out information about the COGAT and Iowa test and tag testing. We just have to sort of get our feet under us, but yes, we will be providing those testing services. This year, we're super hopeful we can do it here at our Flex location. And that's our plan at the moment. So unless the district does any change on location for testing, that's our plan. We'll be able to do the testing here in person at Tumwater.
What about connecting Chromebooks to the home Wi-Fi and therefore home printers?
Yeah, I have my daughter's at ACMA and my wife's a teacher at Mountainside. And so we have Chromebooks, et cetera, at home. You certainly can connect your Chromebook to your home Wi-Fi. Our Chromebooks have Wi-Fi print disabled. The reason why we did that is because we would have students print entire books. And if we had 200 students or 1,000 students on campus printing, we would run out of paper the first day. And so if you have a question about connecting to your Wi-Fi printer at home, that's when you're going to want to use our tech support. And I'll go ahead and put it right back in the chat. Our tech support person, Jamie Owens, is absolutely amazing. And if there is a way for you to use that at home, she would be the one who would know. But again, I just want to start with, we had to disable that, not because we're trying to be mean, but because if we enabled that, then we would run out of paper. Because students could print to any of the printers that are in the Beaverton School District network. And so it's frustrating, but that is what we had to do. We made that decision years ago when we got the Chromebooks. I'm just going to take this last question because it's really awesome. What is FLVS? Thank you so much for asking. We should not be using those acronyms as much as we do, so I apologize for that. FLVS stands for Florida Virtual. And Florida, the actual public school district in Florida years and years ago decided to incorporate and make a company that, again, it's a public school district that provides curriculum. They've been doing high school courses for years, and a couple of years ago, they started working on elementary courses. When we did our initial request for proposal for elementary curriculum providers, we looked through many, many curriculum providers, and we landed on Florida Virtual for our K-5 curriculum. And so the FLVS just stands for our curriculum provider, Florida Virtual. All right, Shawnee or Sarah, what do we got next?
IEPs and how students' goals are serviced at Flex.
Excellent question. We have 5 special education resource teachers. We just added 2 today that are brand new. And so what they do is they will work with your student and the IEP goals. We also have a full-time speech and language pathologist. They will work through your students' IEP goals and set up the same structures and meetings as you would do in any building. The only difference is that if your student is coming from another school and the IEP that school came from is a specialized program, then that school team has to work with you and work on the IEP adjustment before you can join Flex. And so for some families, they're waiting for that meeting to happen before we can enroll them. Just like many of the district schools, we don't offer all the specialized program classrooms, just like other schools across the district. And so if you're in a specialized classroom, and since we don't provide those services here, then you either have to make an adjustment to your IEP, or you have to choose a school, one of our schools in the district that does offer those specialized programs. But we do provide resource support. We do provide speech and language pathology support, and we cover those IEP goals. And so our team will be reaching out to you as they get through those to work with you on that. Okay, next one, Shawnee or Sarah?
I think oh, sorry, Shawnee.
Oh, no, go for
I'm
it.
getting a number of questions about, we signed up last week. How long do we have to wait? I'm feeling a little bit of.
Yeah. Great. Okay. We processed enrollments as fast as we could up to a certain point, but then we had a 4-day holiday weekend. Part of that was the new Rosh Hashanah holiday that we celebrated on Tuesday when schools were closed. And so at that point, we had a gap in processing. And so this morning we downloaded all the new applications that were happening over that 5-day period. And now my team is processing them as fast as they can in the order they received. It takes about 3 business days, as fast as we can possibly do it, for the whole thing to flush through the system. So as the first thing that happens is our system will pick up your enrollment after it's released from the other school. And then the next thing that happens in the 24 hours is that it shows up in Canvas. And so all those access things sort of happen in an order, and we are just going as absolutely fast as we can. And so we will, each day at 6 a.m., I download all the new applications, and then we have a system and we process them as quickly as possible. We really apologize for the delay. We sincerely appreciate your patience. I understand it's stressful and it's very challenging because you're ready to go. I promise you, we do not have a cap. Everybody who applies gets in. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I waited and I'm not going to get in. That's not how it works. And we are just going as quickly as we can. Each morning we go through the voicemails and the emails, and then we start processing those. It's just because of the way the systems are all tied together, it takes about 3 days before we can get that all processed. Okay, Shawnee or Sarah, any others?
Good one about, will activities on Canvas be similar to CDL Seesaw?
Oh, that's a great question. We are a Beaverton School District school, and so we align to the Beaverton School District standards, and we follow the same standards. Because we're an online school first, we weren't built as a reaction to a pandemic. We purchase online and curate online specific curriculum that's designed to be delivered in an online format. And so some of our lessons may come through in a different way than you saw in Seesaw. Any of the resources that our partner schools have, we have access to as well. So if they had online access to curriculum materials, we can use those. And so, yes, there'll be some that are either exactly the same or very similar, and there'll be many that are different because our system is designed and built to be delivered online in an online format. In the end, however, we're covering all the same standards. And in fact, I think if you would talk to families who are in Flex or have been with Flex last year, we meet at least the rigor, and in fact, in most cases, go beyond the rigor and content coverage that you would see in a classroom. And so we provide that option. We also have all the subjects separated out, so you have all the course subjects. And then again, we offer 2 specials at Flex, which are Spanish language, and then we also offer art as our specials.
Learning coach. Tell me more about what a learning coach is.
That is a great question. We love our learning coaches. We would love to bow in your honor because you do really hard work at home. A learning coach, it varies from the smallest, the primary K1s, all the way up to the 12th graders. The smaller or younger the student and the less independently they can work, the more the learning coach is your side-by-side support. And so you're going to be right there next to the student, helping them access lessons. If they're not a reader yet, they'll be covering, you'll have to work with them as far as reading the lessons. Our lessons do provide you can have text to speech, so it will actually read it to you. And so a learning coach's goals really are to make sure, does the student understand what's happening and can they work through the lessons? The learning coach can help the student set up times to meet with a teacher. We encourage learning coaches to meet with the teacher. We want you to be a partner in the learning process. Learning coaches help students stay motivated. They make sure students are taking breaks, and they make sure students are doing active things and engaging with other family members or friends in the community or going to the playground. Learning coaches set the schedules for the students. So maybe for you, the morning session is doesn't work for you. Great. So then you set your schedule at home that works best for you and your family. And so learning coaches for us are partners in your students' education. You have the opportunity to see exactly what's happening in the classroom, what the lessons are. You can join in any of the online class sessions. And so we're really considering you a partner. I will say too, it's a lot of work. Being a learning coach is not a cakewalk. Okay, so please give yourself some grace. When you're starting out new and you've not done this before, it's going to be stressful and it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to take some adjustment. So give yourself some grace. Our teachers are going to give you a lot of grace as well. And what most families last year said is the first week, we're never going to make this. Oh my goodness, I can't do it. Second week, okay, that really can't make it. By the third week, okay, we're starting to get there. And then by a month, okay, I got this. I figured out how this works. Our system requires active engagement. You can be successful in school and you can be a passive student. A student walks into a building. They are told where to go, when to go. They sit in a classroom. The teacher directs everything that happens in that classroom that day. And so what you're taking part is active. It requires that you engage with your instructors. You engage, if your student has a question, you have to reach out to your teacher and ask that question. And so that is a big switch, both from an adult standpoint. I didn't learn that way. And from a student standpoint, once that sort of kicks in, that's when we find students really, and learning coaches and families really start to flow. But give yourself some grace. It's going to take an adjustment period. And again, thank you so much. Personal thanks to all learning coaches, whether it's grandmas and grandpas, uncles and aunts, parents, guardians, siblings. We sincerely appreciate the work of our learning coaches. All right, Shawnee or Sarah.
I think Sarah did a good job explaining it in the chat, but if you want to talk a little bit more about the differences between CDL and Flex.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's probably our number one question, the most common question. So from the very beginning, CDL was a response from the Oregon Department of Education to the pandemic. And so what they said is, we're in a pandemic, we can't have students go back to school. Let's do the best we can to recreate sort of the same schedule and systems that we did in school, only do it on Zoom or do it on video conference. So during CDL, you would have specific times every day when you would log in and all the students would be on Zoom, then they'd log in for the next thing and log in for the next thing. We were not a response to the pandemic. We were built for families who wanted schedule flexibility and all the things that an online school provides. And so we don't have locked in times all day long when your student is on Zoom. You have a lot more independence and the ability to set your own schedule. We will have blocks of time where teachers will be live. What we find though is after about a month or two, a lot of families don't attend those. Now, elementary, most do, but in the upper grades, students tend to want to work at their own pace, and then they'll meet individually with instructors. And so you have the ability to schedule times that work for your family to say, hey, I want to talk with my teacher, and we're going to sit down and cover a few things. And so we can do that. But the biggest difference is CDL was designed to try to mimic what happens in the schools and the classrooms. Our system was really built on the foundation of online learning, which is schedule flexibility. Okay, anything else, Shawnee or Sarah? It's like we've got somebody that's off mute.
I think we got the questions I could see. I mean, I think my big thing for everyone is just, we understand this is stressful, but we're here to support you. We're all in this together, and we will be getting more information out to you soon. So.
Yep, thank you so much, Shawnee. Again, we do not have a cap on enrollment. If you are still waiting to be enrolled, we will accept you when we're going as quickly as we can. Classes will be balanced at elementary. We're hoping by Friday, so you'll actually know who your teacher will be for the year. And then enrollments that happen after Friday will be placed based on class sizes. A question that was asked in the other one I want to cover really quick before we shift to the next session is, can you return to your homeschool? Absolutely. You have the right to return to your homeschool at any point. The reason why our language on the website talks about the semester and the summer points is not because we're restricting it. It's because that's the best for students. Our system is different enough that for a student to go from our system and immediately switch gears and go back to their homeschool can be very disruptive. And so even though you can do it, we just want to acknowledge the fact that that transition can be challenging, especially at 6th through 12th grade, when they have to actually try to schedule and forecast into classes, etc. But you always have the right to return to your homeschool. All right, any other questions, Sarah or Shawnee, that I'm missing?
Real fast, because we have 2 minutes. A question about kids won't learn as much as in real class. Will my kids catch the class once they're back, and back meaning like to the homeschool? So if they transferred back to homeschool at some point during the year.
Yeah, it's a great question. So if our pace of learning is, we will provide you a pace of learning that would get you through all the courses by the end of the year. If you completed all of our curriculum on the pace that we are at, you would be ahead of pretty much every school in the school district. And so if you chose to adjust your pacing, or were learning at a different pace, then maybe when you joined your school, you would be at a different spot than the students that were in the class. In general, our students are ahead or learning more than the equivalent students in the classrooms. And that's because you have the ability to sort of work at your own pace, and you're not bound to the teacher's structure of what they're delivering each day. And so it's going to vary from family to family. If you're not able to access or engage in the learning, and then you return back, of course, then you would be behind and you would not be at the same spot. If you're able to engage and follow lessons and at the pace that we're at, we're very confident you will be at or beyond where the school students are that are in our partner schools.
And just to add to that, the order in which our curriculum rolls out may be different than what neighborhood schools are using. And so there is a possibility of gaps or repeats based on that, just to be aware of that.
Yep. All right. Any other questions that we can grab here before we
I think
switch?
we're good. There was a question about what's the estimate for class sizes, and I responded like, still balancing. So unfortunately, we don't know. And then these recordings will be available on our website, probably on the FAQ.
Yeah. We'll put them on
page.
the. Yep, we'll do that. We'll also try to capture what's in the chat for questions, because we know we're not going to get to all your questions. And so we'll try to make sure that those questions are answered in a document as well. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. We're going to continue on. What is our next grade level session, Sarah?
6 through 8.
Okay, the next session will start as 6th through 8th grade. You are welcome to stay. Obviously you don't have to stay. If you have a question of your teacher, please email them directly in Canvas. If you don't have Canvas access yet, please use the Flex Online School email address that's on the website. If you have tech questions, I'm going to put those one more time in the chat. These are the key communication formats for you. And there you go. And again, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. We're going to go ahead and let the 6th through 8th grade families in just a second here, and we'll shift on to that. Thanks so much. All right, welcome everybody. We are admitting folks as they come in. This will be our 6th through 8th grade portion of the question and answer today. We have another question and answer session on Thursday. Is that correct, Sarah? Tomorrow we'll have another question and answer session. And of course, we understand we're not going to be able to get all of your questions answered today. We will do our best to, this will be recorded and provided on the website, so you'll be able to see it and watch it at your own speed later. And we'll also try to provide answers to questions in the chat we were unable to answer during the session. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. This is the Flex Online Q&A for 6th through 8th grade. My name is Paul Autumn. I'm the principal of Flex Online. Joining us today are several of our team members. We have Sarah Langton. She is one of our folks that supports our teachers with PD, and we call her the doer of all things. We have Shawnee Clark here this morning. She is one of our counselors on our counseling team. Her main focus is on elementary students. And then we also today have Eddie Fernandez. He is our secondary counselor. We just added our 3rd counselor over the weekend, Mr. McMurtry, and so he won't be joining us this morning, but we do have 3 counselors in the system. So today's format is I'll give you a very brief overview of the most common questions and how Flex Online School works. And then at that point, we'll go ahead and just take questions in the chat, and we'll get through them as fast as we can because we know you have tons of questions. So I'm just going to cover a couple of basics, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. First off, how does attendance work at Flex Online School? Attendance is based on Canvas access. And so what we're looking for a secondary student or a 6th through 8th grade student is that they have accessed all of their A day classes on an A day and all of their B day classes on a B day. Each teacher can go into Canvas and actually see exactly when and what the students did that day. And so they can see when they accessed it, and that's what we're going to base our attendance on. Unlike CDL, when attendance was based on live, showing up live to a session, because CDL was really trying to do an online version of regular school. It was a state mandated system. We do not mandate that you show up to the live sessions to be marked present. You have to go into Canvas, access your courses. That's where students will see the assignments. They'll see grades. They'll access the curriculum. And so that's what we're going to use as our attendance. So be sure your students are logging into all of their courses that happen on A day and B day. And those schedules of A and B day are on the home page of every teacher's course. There's a link right there that says A or B day schedule, and that will tell you which courses happen on A and B day. We are in week 0 at Flex. And what week 0 means is we understand that for a lot of families, especially if you're new, it's going to take a couple of days to get settled in. We want to make sure you can log into Canvas. We want to make sure that your Chromebook is working at home. We want to make sure that you're able to, your username and password is working. Do you have a parent view account? And so you can access Canvas as an observer. We want to make sure that gives you a chance for that. Our teachers will have live sessions today. The advisory teachers will have live sessions. They will also have live advisory sessions tomorrow and Friday, as well as the typical A and B day schedule with shorter sessions. So your teachers will be live today, tomorrow, and Friday, and they will provide you some information about how Flex works, have a chance for students to ask questions, etc. And then thank you, Sarah, just put a link to our AB schedule, which is on the website. She just put a link right there in the chat. We do have a physical location. We are located in the Tumwater Middle School. That's where I'm sitting right now in my office at Tumwater. We have 5 classroom spaces, and we also have access to the outdoor spaces. And so our friends and partners at Tumwater have been incredibly kind, and we share the space. What that means is that we do have access to in-person opportunities. Last year, we did some PE, we did some bingo. We had students that would come in for one-on-one support. We can do testing in person, and so we have clubs, and this year we may be able to have some club access on site. We also understand that safety is absolutely first and foremost in everybody's mind. We follow all of the Oregon Health Authority guidance and the district guidance, and we really try to limit most of our activities outdoors, but we will be providing a schedule about those and when those opportunities will exist. When you want to come and do a pickup of a device, or you need some support on your device, or if you're going to pick up some printables, that's where you would come to Tumwater Middle School as well to do those. And we'll be communicating that in Parent Square and on our website. Okay, I think I've covered the basics. I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat the most common information that folks would want to know. Our tech support line there, the email, the flex-support at Beaverton, that is a direct email to our tech support person. She is the one who can help you with login or password or device issues. So she handles device issues, login issues, user account issues. The website, the public website, shows a phone number for a student help desk. Unfortunately, that help desk is no longer manned by folks. So you could call that number, but there will be nobody there to answer. So please use the email that we provide here for support. And we apologize, they just have not updated that. That was left over from last year's CDL. If you have a general question about enrollment, then you'll want to, or just a general question about Flex, you'll want to email the Flex Online School email address, which is the second one there. That email inbox has hundreds of emails, so they're working through them as quickly as they possibly can. And then if you have a question of your teacher, you'll want to use the Canvas inbox. Once you're logged into Canvas, your student, or if you have an observer account, on the left-hand navigation, you'll see the word inbox with an icon. That is your personal message center for Canvas, and you can contact your teachers right through there. Our website has a lot of great information, and the link is there. And then last on my little info is the address of Tumwater Middle School, which is where we will be located this year. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let my teammates sort of peruse through the questions, and we'll answer those live for you as quickly as we can. So Sarah, Eddie, Shawnee, anybody got a couple questions you want to fire at me?
First one, do all 6th graders take Spanish? Schedules they received showed tech and art, but now they see Spanish on the dashboard.
Sarah, I'm taking care of that. I've already contacted Amy. So I'm taking care of that.
I think, Paul, you and I can just leave it. Eddie will do the rest.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Eddie.
That's what I meant to say, Eddie. Thank you.
Yes, our sixth graders have the option of 2 of the 3, and we have art, tech, and Spanish. So they're going to take 2 of those 3 options. I will say at this point, if you are just now enrolling or have enrolled after our, during that big 4-day break we had, we are balancing classes. And so sometimes we may have to move you off of one of your choices just based on the class sizes that we have. But we're going to do our best to honor everybody's request, just like every school does. But there might be an occasion where we have to make a different selection on an elective.
Our kid is supposed to be enrolled in Avid. Doesn't look like she is.
A great question.
Would that change her advisory teacher?
We do not going to probably change the advisory teacher. We are going to be working on our Avid classrooms. When we first opened last year, we were told we are not an Avid school and we did not offer Avid. Then we had enough Avid students sign up that we did offer some small Avid classes. This year we are an Avid school. We do provide Avid. And so because we weren't able to recruit or advertise that, we're going to be making some adjustments, and our Avid coordinator will be reaching out to families on the Avid side, and we'll be making schedule adjustments. And so, yes, Avid is available for middle school and high school students as an elective course. And we're going to do our best in the next week or so to get those adjustments made and be reaching out to families who are interested in the Avid elective class. Okay.
I think that we might want to talk a little bit about when we shared the AB schedule and what those time blocks are, to clarify what are those time blocks for.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, great. Yep, absolutely. Thanks. Our schedule is on an A-B block schedule, and it's the same A and B day block schedule that the district uses. So we follow the district odd, even, or A-B schedule. And so if there's a holiday or a day off, we're going to have that same exact schedule. On each day, we have 5 blocks of time. And those blocks of time are our promise, basically, that somebody that is in that content area. So one of those blocks would be math. If you have math class during that time period, there will be a teacher live on Zoom during that period to provide lessons, go over homework, answer questions, have students work together. Those sessions are not mandatory. So you do not have to attend those sessions to be counted or to be making progress. But those sessions are designed so that students can see each other. We don't want students isolated and feeling like there's nobody else in their classroom, but also so they can build a relationship with our instructors, and they get to know each other and know exactly what's happening in the class or how they can provide support. The difference with our schedule and what a CDL schedule is, because our students are all at different places in the curriculum, we can't log in each day and provide a lesson because it would not work for the students. Some of the students would not be ready for that lesson, and the rest of the students would have already completed that lesson. So while our teachers do provide video lessons, and they will go over concepts that are commonly, students commonly have questions about, most of the individualized support is just that, it's individualized. So a student will message the teacher, and then they'll set up a Zoom individually and say, even though it's not happening during that block of time, they'll say, boy, I need some help on math. Can I meet with you at 2 o'clock, or can I meet with you on, because the teachers have a lot more time outside of their typical day. A lot of the work happens on individual or small group sessions. So when you log into that math block, for instance, or language arts block, your teacher will have instructions about, during this block, we're going to do Lit and Comp 9. I'm going to go over some lessons. And then during this block, we'll do Lit and Comp 10. And so if you're in Lit and Comp 10, they'll say, you should be working on the lessons and preparing questions for when I'm live with you at Lit and Comp 10. And so it works a little bit different. It takes an adjustment period. But it's the system that the structure we built the vision of the school on. It's what families demand for online learning, especially when we're not in pandemic situations. And it provides you a lot of flexibility and a lot more individualized support, as opposed to all class delivery of lessons or lecture online. All right, any other questions, Sarah?
I'm looking.
I've
Sorry,
got
I
a
was
couple
dealing
here
with-
I can
yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Do 7th graders have options for elective courses? Yes. Our electives really fall mainly under the art category, the Spanish category, and the technology category as far as electives for 7th graders. And so if you have questions about what the options are, Eddie Fernandez, our counselor, can help you with that. And also we have information on we could send you the forecasting form if you haven't seen it. And so that would help you with the elective courses options. And then a question that says, let's see here. Is it only half-an-hour classes each day? And then it says for elementary. No,
I'm typing some of that out, but you can speak to it too.
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead, Shawnee, take over, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The other people might have this question as well. So there are the live sessions on Zoom, like we've said, not mandatory, but highly encouraged. So those it might just be a half an hour that the whole class meets in the morning. But there's also live specials, and then the bulk of your curriculum and the jumping into the content will be that work with between the learning coach and the student. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, so there are at least that much each day available, and depending on what classes you are in, whether you're receiving language services or special education services or speech and language pathology services. And like Shawnee just pointed out, we also have our specials. So we have Spanish and art specials, which are live. But most families take most advantage of the individualized meeting times, and teachers work really hard to accommodate folks, to meet with them individually and work with them. There's a question here about, will there be a chance for kids to hang out online to socialize and talk about classes? Advisory is absolutely the best way to do that. We we wish we could make it mandatory, but that's not really a part of how the school was built. But if there's anything you would want to impress upon your students, is that they should attend advisory every time it happens. That teacher is not grading your student. Advisory is a satisfactory, unsatisfactory mark. But that teacher also is going to provide lessons on social emotional learning, college and career counseling. How are they doing with class? They're going to do fun activities where students will get an opportunity to work together. And so that's the time when really a lot of the ability for students to get to know each other and get to be really comfortable in a classroom setting that's less pressure. And so we strongly encourage advisory as sort of like your centralized, that's your hub where you would start each day, or each day that advisory happens. And that's really where you're going to get the good information about connecting with other families. We do have a Flex Online Community Support, which is our PTO or PTA. We call it the FOCS, FOCS, Flex Online Community Support. They will be able also to provide directory information and those things. We have to get them started again this year, but that'll also be a way for students to hang out and socialize. I will say we have every desire to do this, and we always are balancing with safety, because in an online environment, we have to be very careful about the potential for bullying or any of those other things. And so we're working really hard this year. My teachers really want to have those opportunities, and we're trying to figure out a way to make sure that that's going to be a safe space for students. And that's why we want to start with advisory. And then as soon as we can come up with those, we will be advertising those to folks. Oh, here's a great question. Will 6th through 12th graders receive grades this year? Yes, 6th through 12th graders will receive grades this year. And so we're outside of now the guidance that Oregon Department of Education had for pass, no pass. We're not there anymore. We're regular A through F grading. We are a school district school, and so we use the 1 through 4 rubrics for mastery. However, those always calculate and convert into a letter grade. So, and that is so that other systems or other schools like colleges can see the actual letter grade, because the 1 through 4, or if you're IB school like my wife at Mountainside, 1 through 8, may or may not be meaningful to the next party that sees it. So you will always calculate in the end to an A through, actually we don't have F any longer in the Beaverton School District. So excuse me, it's an A through N meaning no credit earned. There's also one other grade that's available this year, and it's I. And what I means is that the student has not mastered enough to pass that course, but it's an incomplete. And then they get a certain period of time to finish that learning and convert that to a letter grade. But we use standard letter grades, and we use the 1 through 4 rubric against standards as far as mastery goes. Some of our curriculum is, our curriculum providers are national or international places that develop it. They don't use 1 through 4, they may not use that. And so you might see some points, you might see, hey, it's, 20 out of 25 or what have you, which is fine. They're both the same thing. They're a way to see on a scale what the mastery of that student is. And we will always convert and use Synergy, the district grade book. So your grades should look very similar to they would at any other school. Good question. Let's see. Yeah, this is a great question. Is there a time window in which we can seek support from the teacher individually? Yes, and what you'll want to do is reach out to those teachers individually in Canvas. You can, of course, email them. Canvas is our ideal spot because the teacher then has the information about you and the student. It's easier to manage which class it's from. Not only will they have their live session times posted on their website, or excuse me, in Canvas and on their calendar, but they'll also then be able to work with you on individual times to schedule those times to meet with you individually. All right, anybody else, Sarah or Shawnee, Eddie, any other questions I'm missing, major ones I'm missing?
Sorry, no, I'm working on individual messages at this point.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. Okay, great. So it says, does a parent use Canvas or Parent Square to communicate? Parent Square, we have adopted and will be using just like all the schools in the district. As far as if you were communicating with an instructor, we would prefer you go through Canvas. And that's because that's how everything in our school happens, K through 12. We do all of our interaction through Canvas. If you send a message in Parent Square or an email, of course, we'll still respond. It's just a lot harder for the teachers to manage that list than it is straight from Canvas because it comes from that classroom. So they know exactly that this student, we're talking about a student in this classroom. So the best form of communication for teachers, directly to teachers would be Canvas. And yes, anybody who has a parent view account will automatically have a Canvas account. And so that just happens automatically from the system. And once you log into Canvas, that inbox is yours. It's not ours. And you are allowed to send messages and receive messages to the teachers straight from there. All right. Eddie, is there anything you're thinking I'm missing just in general about forecasting or scheduling? Can you think of anything? Hope I don't know if you said no or.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm talking to myself here.
No
No,
problem.
I think you got it all.
Okay, excellent. Yep, so somebody asked a question, can I give a high-level overview of the difference between K5 and 612 at Flex, the parents' role and students' role? Great question. K5 students tend to need more one-on-one learning coach support at home. And so the younger the student, K1, 2, the more time, we call it side-by-side support, will be required. And that's just strictly from their level of understanding and reading and your ability to motivate them to go. The older and more independent students get, then that role becomes more of a check-in, or have you contacted your teachers, or have you been attending your advisory, or show me what you've been working on today. So it becomes more similar to the role of a teacher or of a parent or guardian at a regular school. It's just a little bit more involved because, again, at Flex, we're asking for some independence and some initiative and active engagement, and students are not used to that. They're used to being told what to do, when to do it, and sort of being handed what happens. And in Flex, they need to take a little bit more ownership of what's happening. So as a learning coach, that's where you can be doing gentle check-ins and saying, can you show me what your progress looks like? We have a lot of families ask, my student won't show me, I can't access the same information my student can see. The best advice I can give you, if possible, is ask your student, hey, can you log into Canvas and show me how it's going in your math class? Or can you log into Canvas and show me what happened in language arts today? And so though making the student have ownership and show you, sort of walk you through what they've done, what assignments they have turned in, maybe if they have assignments missing, what kind of feedback they're getting or what the scores are. That's really, you're sort of a cheerleader. You can also at home ensure that they have a space, a learning space that's conducive. Do they have enough room? Can they see their computer easily? Do they have paper, pencil access? At home, my daughter, I always have a calendar up on the wall. She just drew a calendar, which is super helpful so they can see their A and their B day schedule. Are they taking breaks? Are they doing active things? Are they going outside? All those things that we want all the family students to do to be healthy. You can help with that. Are they getting enough sleep? When they're on their Chromebook, are they doing schoolwork? Or are they doing games or, online, so any of those things that you can support your overall student with are fantastic. The other role as a learning coach that's really important is communication with the instructors. We want to be your partner in learning, and we want you to know what's happening, and we want to know how best to support you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to your teachers as well. Same thing holds true with our counselors. We have a fantastic counseling team, and they are here to support you with planning. Any other things that I should let my counselors speak on that side. Social emotional learning. I don't know, Eddie or Shawnee, if you want to add anything to that from your side.
Sorry, Paul, I was answering questions in the chat.
No
I
problem.
heard
No
social
problem.
emotional learning. Yes.
So was I.
Cover that here.
Sorry, there's a lot of questions going on.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, no problem. I just give me a general overview about what do you do? Like, why would a student want to reach out to their counselor?
Yeah, for sure. I'll start from elementary. I feel like last year in particular, I'm a really great resource for parents, especially if you're just like, I have this question or I'm stuck and I don't know who to go to, or I don't know, where to start. I'm your person. Shoot me an email. We'll work through it. I'm messaging some parents in the chat right now about where do we start with a schedule, things like that. So we're great for that. If you've got stuff going on at home that is, especially at elementary, when kids have got big feelings and a lot going on, it can be really helpful to have somebody safe to just talk to privately. We're here for that. Outside resources, we can get you connected if you need help with things like food, clothing, furniture, mental health, outside mental health services. Yeah, Eddie, you want to?
Yeah, I was also going to say there's a bunch of academic counseling that we do as well.
Mhm.
A lot of that will be done via the advisory course. A lot of the SEL that we were going to do will be done also through advisory, and these kind of lessons and that sort of thing will be done through advisory.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. It looks like we're getting close to switching gears to our 9th through, is it a 9th through 12th, Sarah? Yeah, 9th through 12th session. You're welcome to stay. Yeah, and again, I'll post one more time our key pieces of information for this week, especially. If you have questions about technology, meaning logging in, passwords, your Chromebook device, you want to email the tech support, that email address at the top there that I just posted in the chat. General questions about enrollment, or just how Flex works, or pickup times for devices or printables or science supplies or the art supplies, that would be the Flex Online School email address. If you have questions of your teachers, please use the Canvas inbox. Of course, you can use their email address, but we prefer the Canvas inbox. We are going to post this video that's recording, as well as more information about our questions, on the website as soon as possible. And then our physical location, because we are a physical school as well. We are in Tumwater Middle School, and the address is down there at the bottom. Thanks again so much for coming today. We're glad you're here. We're going to go ahead and shift gears in about a minute to our 9th through 12th session. Again, that does not mean you have to leave. If you want to hang out and listen some more, we're happy to help you. If you're just joining us, we'll be going over a brief overview of Flex Online School, and then we'll also be taking questions through chat and answering as many as we can, as quickly as we can. And again, these sessions are recorded, so we'll have these posted as well. And we'll just give folks just a minute, and we'll add our 9th through 12th families. All right, looks like we've got people coming and going. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you being here. All right, what do you think, Sarah? I think I can start on our 9 through 12. Okay. All right, welcome, folks. This is our 9th through 12th grade Flex Q&A for the Flex Online School. My name is Paul Autumn. I'm the principal of Flex Online School. Joining me today, I have two of our counseling team, Eddie Fernandez, who is our 9th through 12th grade counselor, and Shawnee Clark, whose main assignment is elementary counseling. And then we also have Sarah Langton here, and she is a support for all of our teachers and just is sort of the Jill of all trades and does all kinds of things. I'm going to cover a very brief overview of how Flex Online School works and try to cover the most commonly asked questions. And then at that point, feel free to type your questions in the chat. Actually, we're down to, looks like 7 folks. So we may even be able to open it up and just have folks ask questions live, because we've been in and out a bunch of families. We've got a few more coming in. I'm going to start with attendance. How does attendance at Flex Online School work? Attendance happens through Canvas. So the way to show that you are there that day for every single class on the A day or the B day is to log into those A day classes in Canvas on A days and log into those B day classes in Canvas on B days. So make sure that you are aware of our AB schedule and that you know what times you're supposed to log in on each day to be shown present. So be sure to use the Canvas courses as your first place to go. Not only does that give you an attendance record, but it also then gives you the place to see what are the lessons happening, what's on your calendar, what's the next thing that's due, what kind of scores and feedback am I getting on the work that I turned in. And so that's really where you want, that's your one-stop shopping, is to go to Canvas. Sarah just posted in the chat our AB day schedule. So feel free to take a look at that. That's on our website as well. And then also your teachers have a link to the AB schedule on their Canvas homepages. We are in week 0 at Flex. And what that means is that we're providing you an opportunity to make sure you're logged in, you have your username and password, it's working, your Chromebook is working, you're able to get Zoom to work. And so we realize, especially with all the new families we're getting this year, that we're different. Online school is a little different. And so there are certain things that need to happen that first week. We will have advisory classes today, and that schedule is posted in our Parent Square information. And then tomorrow and the next day, we'll start with an advisory, and then we'll go shorter periods with the class, with your actual A day, B day, like math, language arts, electives, AVID, social studies, etc. So we will have shorter periods on Thursday and Friday following the A day, B day schedule, where you can have a chance to log in and meet your teachers, and they'll go over some basic ideas. We are an asynchronous. What does that mean? That just means that you are allowed to set your own schedule. If you don't show up to a live Zoom session, you are not marked absent. So the live sessions are not required. The reason why we do that is that online school families really joined for flexibility. They want to be able to set a schedule that works best for them at home. They might have work requirements, they might have daycare requirements, they might have schedule things that make it difficult to follow an exact schedule every day. And so you have the ability at home to set your own schedule. The downside of that is that that flexibility demands that you are independent and that you have time management and can keep track of what's happening in your classes on your own. When you walk into one of our partner schools, the bell rings, you know where to go, you sit in a classroom, the teacher tells you what to do, when to do it. This is different. Like, you have a lot more responsibility and flexibility because you can set your own schedule. In the first month, I would strongly encourage that you visit every single live session that you can, so that you can sort of get into a routine. You can understand what the teacher is expecting of you. You can ask questions. You can see other students that are in your class. You're not alone in your classes. You know, we want to make sure you know that you're in a school with a whole bunch of other students. And so we strongly encourage that. The most important class to attend every week is advisory. The reason why is that your advisory teacher is going to provide you not only information about just Flex in general and fun things where you can socialize and get to know each other. But also, they're not going to grade you. That's your confidant. That's your person that you can go to and ask questions about, and they can talk to you about what the other teachers are doing. We're going to provide college and career lessons in there, so you can earn your career education credit. You could ask questions about your schedule. So really, advisory is super important that you go and attend. You'll find out about clubs, in-person activities, all kinds of stuff. So advisory is super, super important. So we can't stress that enough. We do have a physical location. We are at Tumwater Middle School. We will be here all year this year before our permanent location opens next year. What does that mean? That means that we actually have in-person activities. Last year, we had some PE things, we had bingo, we had students that would come in and get individual support. Sometimes coming to Tumwater and meeting with your teacher for 15 minutes is like the equivalent of 2 hours worth of emailing back and forth and asking questions. If you're just sitting with your teacher side by side, well, obviously within distance and with masks on, we can provide that immediate support, whether it's just, I didn't know where I was supposed to click. I didn't know how to turn this in. I'm stuck on this part and I'm embarrassed to ask in front of the whole class in Zoom, or I'm trying to ask you on Canvas, but it's not really coming through. We can provide those services here on site. We're hopeful that we'll also be able to do some socialization. We'll try to do most of those outside. So we can maintain all the safety guidance, but we do have a location, and we will be providing information about the opportunities to come and visit us. And again, you could use it for maybe you need physical device support. Something's not working right on your Chromebook, or maybe you just want to talk to your counselor in person. And so we can schedule those kind of things here. That covers pretty much the basics. I'm going to go ahead and post once again, in case anybody just joined us, the most important contact information. I just put it in the chat. The top email address is for tech support. I can't log in. I forgot my password. My Chromebook's not working. That's that top one. The next email address, the one that says Flex Online School, that's general questions. I'm trying to get enrolled and I'm not enrolled yet. I can't see my classes. I need to know when I can pick up a Chromebook. I need to know when the printables will be available, or art supplies or science supplies. I want to check out a camera for photography class, those kind of things. If you have a question for your teacher, we really need you to use the Canvas inbox. You can email them directly, but we prefer Canvas inbox because it lets the teacher know exactly which class you're in and who you're asking about. The website will be just continuously updated with information. And so I strongly encourage that you bookmark it. You can check it periodically and we'll be updating that. And then again, the last thing on that thing in the chat is the address of Tumwater Middle School, which is where we are located. So it still looks like we only have about 10 folks here, which is awesome. We're so glad you're here. You are welcome to type a question in the chat, or if you want to, you can go ahead and unmute and just ask it live, since we don't have 100 like we had in an earlier session. So feel free to type questions in the chat, or if you're comfortable, feel free to unmute and you can ask a question that way. And just so you know, I'm a teacher at heart, even though I'm the principal. I can sit here in silence in teacher wait time for a long time. So I'll be waiting here for a chat question or a question live. Yeah, did you have a question? It looks like Alexandria. You just have to unmute so we can hear you, or you can type it in the chat.
Well, the question is, let's see, I'm a student and my calendar kind of doesn't, what happens if your classes doesn't show on the student calendar? Like mine said, I don't have US history, I don't have learning strategies or biology on mine. I only have photo, web, and everything else except those three.
Okay, great. That's a really good question, Alexandria. Thanks so much for asking. Some of the students we are still scheduling because we wanted to make sure we had some classes in place. Your schedule should be full schedule by the end of the day today or tomorrow. If it's not, that's when you would want to reach out to Mr. Fernandez. He's here on this call, Edward Fernandez, and he is your counselor, and he will make sure we get those classes scheduled like you need. So we apologize that they're not there yet. Some of it was we were just working as fast as we could to get all the courses in the schedule. Really good question. So thanks so much for asking that, Alexandria. If anybody is not seeing all their classes, just like Alexandria asked, please give us a day or so. If you still don't see them by the end of the day, we will be making phone calls, and you can also email Mr. Fernandez. We also will have a schedule change request that needs to be done through a form, and that form will be provided to you by your teachers, by your advisory teacher. So if you need to make a schedule change, then that form filled out, and then we'll be able to process those forms for schedule changes. We know there are going to be schedule changes necessary. And so that's just going to be the nature for a little while. Go ahead, Eddie. Did
Can
you
I
have
jump
something
in?
else?
Yeah, I was going to ask Alexandria, because I'm looking at your schedule and I see a full schedule. What is it that you're missing?
Biology, US history, and learning strats.
I would say because the schedule's there. I see biology.
On the calendar.
It's not on. the
Oh,
calendar.
It's not on the calendar.
Gotcha. Okay, so so Alexandria, what I would say is shoot a message to those teachers
Right.
in Canvas and say, I'm not seeing your schedule on the calendar, and then they should be able to respond to you and get you those.
Because you should see the classes in the Canvas, right? You see them in Canvas. You just don't have access to the calendar.
No, I do, but I just don't have access to those 3 that I told you.
Gotcha.
They're not
Yeah.
listed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Then you want to reach out to those teachers.
Okay.
And again, they're still working on it, so they could still be, adding students to that and all that sort of thing. So
Okay, thank you.
sure
Yeah,
thing.
thanks, Alexandria. I do have a great question in the chat here. It says, can you give a general update of what school looks like for students? That's a fantastic question. So what a school day looks like for students is somewhat determined by the family. So Flex Online School allows students and families to set up a schedule that works best for them. The requirement that you have to uphold is that on A days, you have to log in to Canvas for all of those classes that happen on A days. And on B days, you need to log in and access those courses in Canvas. Every A and B day, we have teacher blocks of time where your teachers will be live on Zoom and provide homework help. They might do short lessons. They can have students maybe work together. They'll answer questions that weren't able to be answered in a Canvas. You can ask them about scheduling individual sessions, say, hey, I need some help on this concept. And so can I meet you on, tomorrow at 2:00? And then they'll schedule a Zoom meeting that way. But in a general day, your student will log in, they'll follow the A/B schedule. They'll be working independently on the material and answering and asking questions and getting feedback from the teacher. And then if they want to engage in live sessions, which are not required, they can do so following that A/B schedule, or they can schedule those live sessions individually with the teachers. So the difference with our schedule or school and what the Oregon Department of Education required last year called CDL is that was trying to recreate regular school online. And that's not our format. We don't try to do that. While we do have those sessions blocked out on A and B days, our students work at different paces. Some students are far ahead, and so they'll be working, very quickly through a course that they're comfortable with. Or some students maybe need extra support, so they'll be working at their pace in a different course. Our flexible format allows students to work at the pace they want and not the pace determined by what the teacher is delivering. The downside to that is that it requires more active engagement. You have to be able to ask your teachers for help. You have to be able to set a schedule and every day get your work done. And that's different. That's different than what you're used to in a regular school. And it's going to take a little bit of an adjustment period. So work at home to get a schedule. I strongly encourage you write it or print it and put it up on the wall so you can follow that schedule. And then ask your questions of the teachers. If you have questions, don't be afraid. Send them a message in Canvas inbox or during the Zoom sessions. Ask your teachers for questions at that point. It's really important that you are communicating with your teachers so they know what's going on. Everything's okay with you. And so that's a general overview. Let's see. Okay, excellent. How do we know which classes we have for A days and B days? So 2 ways. Number 1 is that on the A-B schedule, and Sarah, if you could be so kind, if you're still around, to post that A-B schedule link in the chat again. The A-B schedule will tell you what subject areas are on A and B days, so that'll be one place. The second place would be in your Canvas courses. Your teachers will tell you whether they're an A or B day, and they also have a link to that schedule. And then in Synergy, in Parent and Student View, they will also indicate which day, A or B day. The thing that's going to be really unusual when you look in Student View or Parent View is you're going to see 99 periods. So you might say, well, I'm in period 56 and period 44. That doesn't make any sense. That's because for our system to work, we had to utilize all 99 periods. And we don't have just a period 1, period 2, period 3, because our students may choose to do it in a different order. I mean, and that's okay. So, so which classes are on A and B days would be on the A-B schedule. It would also be on, thanks, Eddie was able to put that in the chat right there. There's a link to that. It would also be in your teacher's Canvas course. And then the other place you'll see which classes are A and B are is in Student View or Parent View. Let's see on the schedule for the week, if we don't have a PE or Spanish class, do we supplement it by going to another elective class? You certainly can do that. You can go to a different class. You could also, this is a great question. If you have a block of time during the day and you don't actually have that class, so you don't have a, like you just said, if you don't have Spanish and there's a Spanish block of time, that would be a great time to do work independently, like get caught up on your homework and do work. Maybe that's a time you schedule an appointment with a teacher, because say, hey, I need some help with my science. And so you schedule a time with your science teacher, because of course, during a Spanish block, your science teacher's not delivering a live lesson. So they should have more availability. Maybe that's a time you go outside and go for a walk. Maybe that's a time you had to leave early because you have a job. And so now that time of the day, because you knew I didn't have class during Spanish, I'm going to do my job that day. Maybe that's when you do your dishes because you're so happy that your learning coaches at home are being so nice and supportive that you're helping around the house. So again, it boils down to, it's going to take some responsibility and independence on your part as a student. I want you to be communicating and telling your learning coaches and family at home how you're doing. And I want you to update them. This is how I'm doing. And I want you to be reaching out to your teachers and being actively engaged in your learning. The students we had last year that were actively engaged were incredibly successful. Some students, this format does not work well for, and we're not here to make you stuck in this format. And you can always return to your home school if this is not a format that's working for you. But it's really going to give yourself a little time to get adjusted and just be active and independent. You know, reach out to your teachers when you have questions, read the information in Canvas so you know what's happening, watch the videos that they post. All of those things will help you. How cool is it that you can watch them on Saturday? Like you can attend class on Saturday. One of our main curriculum providers is Apex Learning. The #1 time nationwide that students are live on Apex Learning is 10 p.m. How cool is that? You could log in and be working at 10 p.m. at night. So not that we recommend that, but you know, set a schedule at home that works for you. Stay on top of your homework and be sure to engage with your advisory teacher and your other teachers, and that's where you're going to find success. Excellent question. How are IEP handled, and do we have team meetings? First question is, how are they handled? Our resource room teacher team and our speech language pathologist team, that we have a big team. They're all going through all the individual education plans right now. And so they're determining exactly when is the next meeting to be held. Are there any reasons for potential adjustments? Does the team want to meet with you and a teacher and just talk about it? So we have all the same requirements and same structures that any other school has with IEPs. You will have if a resource teacher, if you have resource services, and they will in secondary, it'll most likely be Ms. Radke, and she'll schedule times for you when you'll have those meetings, and that's on the AB schedule as well. And then IEP meetings, I think district-wide now are on Zoom. And so, yes, we do have IEP meetings, and just work with your resource room teacher and or your counselor, and they will help you with that. All right, how are you all doing, Eddie and Sarah, with your back channel questions? Are we anything I should talk about out loud, or how are we doing? Good. If somebody has a question, okay, thanks, Eddie. If somebody has a question, feels comfortable unmuting, please feel free to do so. You know, we're here to help. Again, I can't repeat it enough. It takes a little while to get adjusted to online school. You're not going to be awesome at it the first week or even the second week. Give yourself a chance to get settled. Please go to your advisory classes. That's the most important class to go attend live. Please check your Canvas every day. Go to all the classes on A and B day in Canvas. Make sure you've read what the teachers posted. You've looked through the modules. You know what you should be working on. If you have questions, send a message to your teacher and they will help you. The hardest students for us to support are students that we don't hear from. We love hearing from students. Learning coaches, if you have questions, same thing. You should have a Canvas account as an observer. You can send messages to the teacher straight from the inbox, just like students can. You get to see exactly what's posted in those classes, just like your students do. We are here to be partners. We know your job is very difficult and it takes a lot of work, and we sincerely appreciate what you do at home supporting the students, and we want to be your partner. So, and once again, students, please say thank you to your learning coaches every once in a while. Do some dishes, maybe clean up the yard, you know. Okay, great. So we've got a question here. My parents registered me on the 3rd, okay, to Flex, and received a confirmation. Excellent. I haven't received any communication regarding the same. Any help or suggestions? Okay, great. So we have you listed with your name, and I really apologize with my pronunciation. It looks like Kanishk Premchander. And Eddie, maybe you could take a look on for that student and check on it. I will say, if you registered on the 3rd, we are still processing enrollments. And so it could literally just be that we haven't finished processing it. We really appreciate your patience. We've had so many students sign up in the last week. We've just had a massive influx of students, and we're going through them as quickly as we can, one by one. Eddie is going to go ahead and take a look at what we've got in the system, and then
and Kanishk, is this for Sansita? We have I have someone with the last name Premchander in the 4th grade. Is that who we're talking about?
yeah, she says it's her sister.
So I still don't see I still don't see you. So that you're I'm guessing you're still being processed.
Okay. So we've got a question about what grade levels are exempted in Oregon for the essential test in COVID-19. Great question. I don't want to misspeak. I know that currently the students that are graduating this year are exempt from what they call the essential skills, which is what you're saying, essential test. I want to hesitate to answer to make sure I look it up. It's printed on the Oregon Department of Education, and we just have to follow their guidance. And they have listed what graduating years are exempt from the essential skills test. As soon as we know students are going to require that for graduation, we'll communicate that information. But I know for this year, it's not required and they are exempted. If your student is a 9th or 10th grader, maybe a question straight to our general email or to Mr. Fernandez, and we can get you that answer. I just don't want to misspeak if I tell you the wrong year. We're just following state guidance on that. We don't have a decision-making ability. We just follow the state guidance. Good question. All right, anything else, Sarah, Eddie, Shawnee, that you're getting questions wise? And again, if you're comfortable, feel free to unmute and ask a question. Other than that, please feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll help you. Great question. What's the current enrollment at Flex? As of this morning, we were at 1,390. By the end of the week, we expect to be closer to 1,500. There will be many students who chose our option and either made that decision under duress or without all the information. And so we will see some enrollment changes in the next couple of weeks. Exactly what same thing happened last year. And so we expect enrollment to fluctuate a little bit for a few weeks. Last year, we sort of evened out at about November, and we kind of stayed at about 1,150 to 1,200 students all year long. We are exceptionally large at elementary, and we really feel like that's based on the Delta variant and the lack of a young person's vaccine. And so, as that news changes, of course, we expect that enrollment to change. Our high school and middle school numbers are actually pretty close to what we were last year, and we kind of expect those to be approximately that way for the coming years. So, great question. We're significantly bigger than we thought we were going to be. Yep, thanks, Sarah. We will be this recording. We'll try to break it up at least into chunks, but this recording will be available on the website. And then we'll also download the chat questions and try to make sure we've addressed them either on the frequently asked questions or somewhere on the website. General straight up questions, really your instructor is your best place to go. Your advisory teacher and your instructors in Canvas will have the best answers for you right away. Our secondary team, our 6th through 12th grade team, is very experienced. Almost all of them were with us last year, so they've got a lot of information and can help you with that. All right, any other questions that we've got today? We're happy to help. Our meeting, this live meeting, will end in about 2 minutes. We do have another one on Thursday. And so if you felt like you missed some things or you want to revisit them, please don't miss the Thursday time as well. That information is sent in Parent Square. Is it posted on the website as well, Sarah? I don't remember. Okay, we'll make sure we get that information out for Thursday's meeting. If you are waiting to be enrolled, we appreciate your patience. We apologize. We know it's frustrating. We are working as quickly as we can on getting all the students forecasted and enrolled. It's a process. It takes about 3 days just for us to get you in the system and have all the systems activate. And at that point, then we can do the forecasting. We will be reaching out to families that we have questions about schedules on. If you want to make a schedule change and you have a request, please visit your advisory teacher and they have a link to the schedule change form. We're asking you to use the form because we want to be able to document and keep track of them as opposed to individualized emails, which tend to get lost. And so we know we're going to have many students that need adjustments. We did the absolute best we could either from your forecasting form or from viewing your transcript, but we know there's going to be a schedule adjustments needed. And so we can do those. Oh, great question. Can students participate in their local school after-school programs? Yes. In that respect, we are similar, even though we are not officially an option school, we are very similar to an option school, which means your boundary school, all the athletics are available to your student and any activities that are not part of a class. So the most common question for us are theater, choir, band, those kind of things. any of those clubs or activities that don't require you to enroll in that class at your boundary school are accessible, and all athletics. If that school requires you enroll in a course during the day to take part, that we're working on, but those are not available because you'd have to be enrolled in courses at 2 different schools. So for the time being, it's all the athletics and any activities that can be done outside of the school day. And yes, you have the right to all of those at your boundary school. Great question. Should have probably mentioned that earlier. Thanks so much for asking that. It's a good one. All right, well, we have hit our 10:30 mark. Thank you again so much, everybody, for coming today. We cannot express how much we appreciate the work that you're doing at home. It's very challenging. It's not an easy job to be a parent or family member, much less a learning coach. So give yourself some grace. Students, we are so glad to welcome you to our school. Give yourself some grace and time to adjust to our format. We are here to help. It'll be much better next week when we don't have hundreds of voicemails and emails to be going through. We'll be much faster. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. I would start with your teachers. If you're not enrolled, of course, I'll post one more time those tech support, general questions, and website information in the chat. Thank you so much. We'll be posting this recording as soon as we can, and have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.